CNN's David McKenzie is outside the caves in Chiang Rai. A few minutes ago I asked him when the second mission might begin or whether it already has.
Well, look, the indications is that at around this time or in the morning hours, and I apologize, there's a lot of activity where I am sitting. Around this time, John, they would move on the cave, we believe. Now, we haven't had official word yet. That might change quite soon. But the plan is this. They will try to recreate the extraordinary rescue that they managed to pull off, it seems successfully, yesterday here in the cave system in the mountain that I can see from where I'm standing. But, you know, John, based on my vantage point, there's a thick, heavy cloud over that mountain. It was raining here until around 3 a.m. local time. That's a big worry because, of course, they're pumping as much water as they can out of the cave, but it can't necessarily compete with that catchment area of water going into the cave. I think that's probably the biggest worry for rescuers on deciding how exactly they move to get the next batch of boys and whether they move at all.
Do we know who's out? There's real confusion around this. Have the boys been reunited with their parents? Have they been named? Is there clarity about which four are now out?
Well, look, it's a particularly sensitive issue, as you can imagine, because there is some confusion as to who has come out and who hasn't. And we're not ready to share those names because, of course, the biggest priority is for the parents to get that information first. Now, there is a sense that they want to make sure that the parents whose boys may still be in the cave aren't feeling this anxiety that's as much, well, of course, they're anxious, but that it isn't compounded by confusion and media speculation. So we can't name the boys at this stage. We do know that 3 of them were able to get out of the cave, be placed in ambulances that streamed past the road where I'm sitting now. One was placed in a military chopper and taken to Chiang Rai center, where they're all in a hospital. Initially, the plan, John, was to keep them in some kind of isolation, to both keep them safe and possibly others safe. We don't know if that plan has shifted in the last few days. What we do know is that the international team, along with the Thai Navy SEALs, were given this pause to rest up because it seems like there's only a few of them amongst the many multitudes who are helping this rescue effort who have the technical skill to actually pull this off.
Yes, this is the thing, isn't it? We talk about the Navy SEALs, but the Navy SEALs would typically be in open water, and the cave diving underwater is a very particular skill. Having said that, gosh, they went well first time around, and that must have given people a great deal of hope.
Well, you can imagine the governor arrived at the position where I'm sitting, and obviously by then word had filtered out as it does, and the local press gave him a resounding cheer, and at times they've been pretty tough on the commander and his team here. So there was a real sigh of relief, a palpable sense of, you know what, they can actually pull this off. Now, that doesn't mean that they're out of the woods because obviously the next batch and the next batch, if the rain does fall down, could be even harder and more challenging. So once done doesn't mean they can do it again, but it will give them a real sense of hope that their bold and brave decision to go in there was, in fact, the right one at this stage.
Dave McKenzie, who was CNN's man on the spot.